Which is like, if we have learned anything from the now 100+ episodes of musicals that we have done, it's read your fucking contracts.
I swear to God, team.
There have been
read your contracts.
so many instances. Read your contracts.
5, 6, 7, 8.
There's no business like show business.
Mamma mia, here I go again. My
Of the music
I have no right to be yawning as much as I am. I've been awake for only 5 hours.
Oh boy, I know. I'm
This is ridiculous.
almost done with my coffee.
You know why? It's because it's been very overcast and like gloomy today.
It's very gloomy today here as well.
It has not rained. Yeah, it's like perfect cozy. It's like perfect cozy weather. But I will force myself to leave the apartment after we finish this. But hello! Welcome back to 5678, a movie musical podcast, the podcast where we review and recap movie musicals, and we are going back to the 1930s, black and white, with the Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers musicale, Swing Time.
Yeah. This is so I talked to my parents about this because I was like, we're watching a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and I was like halfway through it at that point, and I was like, I don't know of a single Fred Astaire Ginger Rogers movie where I've enjoyed the plot. But the dancing in this particular
Is that indicative
movie,
of the time period?
Maybe, and that may be the problem.
Yeah.
This one was not as bad as the one with the psychiatrist. That one was straight crazy.
No, the women actually had agency in this one.
Yes, they were called Little Lady a bunch, which I really like, hackles raised, but that's also indicative of the time. I will say the dancing in this was spectacular.
It's phenomenal.
Oh my God.
Both historians and I think Fred and Ginger have both agreed that like this was one of their favorite dance musicals that they did.
Yes.
And you know what? It's a true blue musical.
It is. It is a true blue musical, we were worried about.
I was thrilled.
Because it does start.
We were worried about that because that's very indicative of the time.
Because there is like a club and they are like professional dancers and everything, but they do have songs outside of the context.
It started in a theater and I went,
oh.
and then I forgot because I was just like trying to keep up with the plot because these movies really throw you off the deep end.
Yeah.
I think it's just indicative of the time, but like it is 0 to 60 in terms of like plot and character introductions and understanding the conflict, like the integral conflict of this film. So I was just trying to keep up, and then we actually got our first song and I went, yay! Yay, it's a real musical.
It is.
20 minutes in.
Okay. The shenanigans in this movie. All right, let's no one's a good
start.
person.
Okay, I want to try something new where before we dive into the plot, I want to like introduce our main cast of characters just because they really throw us off the deep end so quickly. So we have Fred Astaire playing John, nickname Lucky. I've immediately forgotten his last name.
Garnett.
I called him Lucky and Garnett. I called him Lucky and John the whole time.
Yes. Lucky because he's a gambler.
Yes. Ginger Rogers' character's named Penny Carroll.
Yes, Penelope.
Then the two other main actors are, I don't have their names, but one is
Pop,
Lucky's father, who's called Pop. And then there is an older mother figure equivalent to Penny, who's not by any relation, but they worked at the same dance studio. Her name is Margaret. And those are our 4 that we really need to know about until we get to like Ricky later.
Yes.
That's our core 4 cast of characters.
Yes. Well, there's Margaret, and who's the fiance, and then there's Mabel, who's the friend.
Oh, sorry. Fuck, you're so right. You're so right. I called them the same name. I called them Margaret the whole time. Okay, so you're right. So there's 5. There's the core 4, which is Mabel, not Margaret. Mabel being the kind of quasi-mother figure, other secretary.
Auntie kind of vibe.
Auntie kind of vibe. Yeah. And then there's Margaret, who we will introduce in a minute.
Yes.
Because she's there in the beginning and then she comes back at the end. Okay, we get a full orchestra. We get a full
we start
orchestral overture.
RKO. It lasts. I always forget how long that lasts because I'm expecting beep, 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 RKO. It is in fact a full 15 seconds of beeps and then it goes RKO. And I'm like,
it's
is
Morse
that
code.
Morse code? What are we doing here?
And then we dive into a full, like, tail end of a dance performance at a dinner theater club. You know how they did in the 30s. All men on stage, one male dancer, Fred Astaire, in the front, and then about 10 other male dancers behind him, all in, like, tails and dancing shoes. And they finish they're like dancing their act. Backstage, a man comes up to a stagehand, this is Pop, and he goes like, why did you change the act? And the stagehand, or maybe it's the director, goes, I didn't, he did, gesturing at the man in front, Fred Astaire. Right. But the number ends, they all run off stage. Pop tries to talk to Lucky, and Lucky's like, I can't talk now. I gotta go get married. Which feels like a really poor bit of, like, time management. And the scheduling.
Time management around weddings in movies of this era is crazy. Do you remember in The Psychologist one, he's like, I wasted my time getting a marriage certificate instead of unhypnotizing the girl I'm in love with. Anyway, that's a different movie. I'm just still baffled by that.
For how seriously they took, like, marriage vows, they're very flippant about the actual, like, process of planning a wedding and having a wedding. It's very, like, laissez-faire of, like, a bit Mamma Mia-esque of, like, why waste a good wedding? Let's get married now. Why waste a good wedding? We're all
but
here.
But you know what? They did that in Princess Diaries, too, so I can't really be mad.
Yeah, they did. Oh, wow. It's been so long since I've seen Princess Diaries, too. All right. We're getting off track already. We cut to the dressing room backstage where Fred Astaire is immediately changing out of his costume and into his, like, wedding tux. Yeah. And he is quickly surrounded by all of his backup dancers and Pop, who
don't want him,
trying to convince him essentially
because he's about to get married and leave the show.
Yeah, they don't want him to leave show business because that means he'd be leaving the troupe, and like clearly he's the main dancer, and they're worried about their job security. Yeah. How they show it is by being really shitty friends.
100%. And pulling the stupidest bit I've ever seen.
I thought we were done, and then unfortunately it is relevant to the end of this film.
That's the problem.
So we do have
to talk about it. So what they do, so he's getting dressed, and they get a call from the wedding party, which is apparently waiting
because he's
for
already
him.
late. Yeah.
He's like an hour late at this point, and they're like,
again, poor time management.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, don't worry, he's on his way, and then go tell him the Reverend isn't even there yet. He's gonna be half an hour late. So he's like, oh, I got time. And then they draw in to a men's fashion magazine with a pencil, some cuffs on this picture drawing of a man in fancy pants. And they're like, you can't get married looking like that. Look at this one picture in a magazine and nothing else. And you'll see that you have to have 3-inch cuffs on your pants or you're gonna look like a dum-dum. So
yeah, if you want to be in fashion. Yeah. Don't you know, you sucker, that men's pants all have 3-inch cuffs on them.
If you don't have cuffs, she won't marry you. Like, it's crazy.
So stupid. And he falls for it. And they're like, listen, the minister said he's 30 minutes away anyway. Your father will run the pants to the nearest tailor. And while we're at it, why don't you gamble with us?
We're going to start up a craps game. Craps made another appearance, and I went, what are you? So
zero. Where's the I want a counter on, this is what I want for merch. I want a counter on my wall that's like days marked safe since Craps mention in a movie musical, and I want to count it, and we are resetting it to 0.
Resetting it to 0. Oh my God. So then we get one of the silliest unnecessary scenes, which is Pop goes to a tailor with his wedding pants and is like, I need 3-inch cuffs. And this tailor, our waiter, is so angry,
offended,
in a way that made zero sense. Of just like, and maybe this is just the culture that we're in right now, where we're like, hey man, if you want 3-inch cuffs, I may think they look dumb, but you're gonna pay me? Fuck it, you know? So
yeah, the customer is always right concept did not exist in 1936 apparently, because this tailor is like, I would rather die. I refuse.
I would rather you take me out and shoot me. Like...
This will single-handedly ruin my business if I agree to this ludicrous request.
And so Pop's like, okay, anyway. And then leaves. What is that? Anyway.
It leaves.
We cut to the wedding hall again.
Yeah, and the father of the bride is calling again he's like, you know what, it's now been another 30 minutes, this is ridiculous, I'm calling off this wedding, I never thought it was a good idea to begin with, and he calls the theater again, and one of Lucky's friends, not friends, they're bad friends, answers the phone, and the father like berates him, being like, don't come, we're calling it off.
Come here,
and
I'll
the
break
friend pretends
your legs or something crazy.
Shins. And the friend pretends that, it's a call from his sweetheart, when Lucky's like, who's on the phone?
Yeah, exactly. So Lucky gets distracted by gambling, and then suddenly is like, wait, the wedding, and runs off, realizes his pants weren't cuffed.
And the wedding is tomorrow.
Realizes his pants weren't cuffed, and Pop says, the tailor said that was a stupid idea, and he goes, huh? And there was obviously an intended laugh line that when you're not watching in a big theater with a bunch of people from the 1930s didn't land. So then he runs off to Margaret's house, which is where this wedding was taking place, this mansion.
Yeah.
And ring-a-ling-a-ling, no one's there, essentially. Like, all the guests have left.
All the guests have been sent home. He knocks on the door. A maid lets him in. I love this maid. Because she takes one look at him and she's like, you are a dead man walking. Yeah. But Lucky doesn't understand. He's like, can you let me in? It's my wedding day. Oops, sorry. And he enters and it's like, where is everybody? And the maid's like, they were all sent home. And I think he goes like, cool, I like small weddings anyway. And then goes. Oh,
one thing we forgot to mention. Before he leaves, his friends, quote unquote, are like, I'll bet you your entire money,
Yeah, because he won the craps game.
He won the craps game. He's like, I'll bet you all of your money that you don't get married. And he's like, I'll take that bet.
Mm-hmm. While at the house, Lucky overhears an argument between his to-be father-in-law and his bride-to-be. And he comes into the room just like this dummy. He's like, I'm here. Where's the wedding? Da-da-da. And the father berates him. And the father says, like, you've got some nerve showing up here, and I wouldn't let you marry her for $10,000, $20,000, I think they like go back and forth.
Yeah, it's like a weird back and forth. One thing that I did find very funny was that we hear the father yelling about how he'll beat up this guy for abandoning her at the wedding, and he shows up, and Margaret, the daughter, is just like, well, are you gonna do what you said? And it was just this white tails man who's never been in a fight in his life and is like,
And then he like goes and she goes in front of Lucky. She's like, no, I didn't mean it.
Anyway, so basically they end up saying, Lucky says, the reason why I was late is I was earning money. I wanted to make sure that we had that I was able to provide for Margaret, yada, yada. And he's like, even today, I made $200.
I was busy making $200.
Yeah, which hold on.
For 1936
hold on,
is a lot.
I have it up.
I know the conversion for $25K. I don't know what it is for $200.
$200 is about $475,000. So $4,750.
Yeah, he was out making bank today, and the father is not like, we get no implication that the father and his family are like poorly off. Like, they're incredibly wealthy, well, and they have money, but he gets dollar signs in his eyes a bit when Lucky's like, I was busy making money. I mean,
I could see
to provide for your daughter.
Like,
maybe he's just guy, like a businessman.
He's a wealthy guy, and his daughter suddenly wants to marry a starving artist. Like, rich people are weird about that shit.
Yeah, she wants to marry someone in show business.
My God, the scandal.
So the father's impressed, and they had done this little back and forth where it's like, I won't let you marry her for $10,000, and Lucky's like, yeah. He goes, 20, yeah. And I think Lucky goes, well, how about 25? And the father's like,
well,
you know what? Bet. I will let you two get married if you go and make $25,000.
Yes.
And then the wedding is back on.
Yeah.
$25,000 in 1936 was about $500,000.
Almost $600,000.
Which,
yeah, $598.
Inflation.
Yeah, over the past 3 days, inflation.
I looked it up earlier and it said closer to 500. Anyway, not important. It's a lot.
A lot.
And Lucky's like, you know what? I can't believe in my sleep I can make that. So he goes direct to the train station, still in his wedding tails. Yeah. And with the money that he had earned in his craps game, goes to buy a ticket. And then his quote-unquote friends show up being like, what money do you think you're buying your your ticket with? That's our money because we had bet that you weren't going to get married today. Ha ha ha, we win.
Yeah.
So he literally has not a penny to his name, except he has his lucky quarter.
Yes.
Which is going to be important later. Pop also shows up at the train station and tries to convince him not to go through with this. Like, this is a harebrained idea. And his friend, I'm so pissed at how shitty his friends are. Because the train is right there. He's unable to buy a ticket because he doesn't have any money. And his friends are like, oh, bye-bye, Lucky.
Bye.
Watching the train
There was a very funny interaction with the guy at the ticket booth. Where he's like, I'll bet you this quarter for a ticket to New York. And the guy was like, I don't want to go to New York. And it's like...
I don't want to go to New York. So instead, I don't remember the name. There is like a
freight train?
What's the name for what's the name for the charge of sneaking aboard a train? Because that's what Lucky does.
I have no clue.
Lucky he runs sneaks aboard a freight train.
Hops on.
And Pop joins him.
Pop tries to join him with
losing
the suitcase,
their luggage.
Loses everything. They have nothing but a quarter to their name.
Unclear where they are coming from, but they get to New York pretty quickly. I'm going to
say Jersey or Connecticut.
I can assume this is a bit of a Yonkers.
Or like...
I'm going to assume this is a bit of
Philadelphia.
A Hello Dolly Yonkers. Situation where it's like there's a world outside of Yonkers. That's twice in a row we have referenced that song specifically. All right, we get to New York City.
Huzzah!
Big, bustling New York City.
Of course. And they're walking around. They have nothing to their name, but Lucky's still in his wedding gear, so he looks incredibly fancy. And Pop says that he's dying for a smoke, so they go to a cigarette vending machine, which used to exist. Mm-hmm. They're trying to scam it, essentially, with a button. And who should bump into them coming out of the subway but Ginger Rogers? Penny.
Miss Ginger Rogers playing Penny,
stunning. My God, she's gorgeous in this movie.
Stunning.
Holy shit. Anyway,
she has the best outfits, and she's got a lot in her hands. So she comes around the corner. She sees them trying to scam. She catches them. She's like, "That's never gonna work. You need like a spool and thread."
Yeah,
and walks past, and Lucky goes after her to get change. Mm-hmm. He asks for change for a
quarter.
No, yes, he asks change for a quarter because, I looked this up, or rather it was in the trivia, because cigarettes were 15 cents.
Yes.
So he couldn't use his quarter. He needed change for a quarter, which is a crazy thing to ask for. Yeah.
What was a quarter? 25 cents was about $6.
In terms of Lucky's object permanence, this is his lucky quarter, and he is immediately like, I don't need this lucky quarter. I'm going to exchange it to get cigarettes for my father. Yeah. So he gets the cigarettes.
They put it in, and the machine doesn't work at first. So they
the machine
percussion maintenance. They bang on it a couple times, and suddenly a bunch of coins fall out, along with like 4 packs of cigarettes. So they jostled something, and it went ching. And so Lucky takes the change while Pop is taking the cigarettes, and Pop is like, "Go get your lucky quarter back." So he runs after her with like a handful of change to like exchange it because that 1 quarter is important to him. And she's not like interested in speaking with him. And she's like, I'm not interested in you. I don't know what grift this is.
You were a weirdo already asking for, she's immediately suspicious thinking this is some kind of grift or something. Because like who asks for change for a quarter then asks for it back. Yeah.
They bump into each other in the hustle and bustle. She drops all of her packages. In that, Pop takes the quarter out of her purse and hands it back to her. And so whenever she looks in it, she was like, you stole my quarter. You're a thief.
You stole the quarter.
And that's when she goes to the cop. And the cop takes one look at Lucky, who's in his like fancy outfit, and it's just like, this man wouldn't steal from you. If you keep causing a ruckus, I'll arrest you, lady. And I'm like, wow, cops haven't changed at all.
Yeah, the cop does not believe her, is incredibly rude, and tells her to kick rocks.
So she leaves, and that's when Pop tells Lucky that he had taken the quarter. And so he's like, I gotta go give this back to her. There's also a moment, which I want to point out, where we don't hear anything, but we see Pop mouth something towards the cop.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure.
Once the cop...
I watched it like 3 times. I was like, what is this that he's saying? And so what I think he's saying is great big fat fuck.
You are correct.
Okay.
Because this is the first... That's one of my fun facts, which is if you are lip reading this, it is the first utterance of the F word in like Hollywood or motion pictures or whatever.
Now there is no word, like there is no sound. It's not even whispered. It is no literally audio. Just him mouthing the words.
He just mouths it because we get like construction noise over top of it. And the cop's like, "What did you say to me?" And
he's like, "Watch out for the great big ditch."
Says something else and scurries away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
Which is why when he said "Watch out for the great big ditch," I'm like, did he call him a bitch? Is that where we're getting this?
Yeah. I went back like 3 times.
It would make more sense if he was like, look out for the truck.
Yeah, exactly. Lucky runs after Penny to like explain what happened with the quarter and to apologize, and follows her into her work, which is a dance studio where she's a dancing instructor for people. And
she's immediately scolded for being late to work. When she's like, I was accosted by 2 men on the street. Truly. And her boss is an asshole. Yeah. He yells at her for being late. He yells at the other woman for being late, who's going to be Mabel, our senior secretary. But as soon as she's put her stuff down, Lucky has come into the studio. The head guy greets him and is like, oh, like, what can I do for you? Is there somebody you want to take lessons from? And Lucky sees a picture of Penny on the wall and like kind of vaguely describes her. Yeah. And like signs up for a lesson like right then and there.
Because they have a free session essentially to like see if the student has any possibility of dancing. Before they sign them up for like a full session, essentially.
A free trial.
Yeah. I did love the description of the dancing, because he was like, we have tap dancing, we have ballroom dancing, and we have aesthetic dancing. And I was like, what is that?
Say more.
What is I actually
say more. It's got to be lyrical.
Hard stop.
It's got to be lyrical or
lyrical
something.
In the 36. Like I was like, stop. Stop the whole world. I actually need a full explanation of what the fuck aesthetic dancing is. Do you mean ballet?
Did you look it up?
No. I was like,
oh, Grace.
I couldn't find anything. Aesthetic dancing? What do you mean?
I have to imagine it's some like precursor for modern, but they wouldn't be teaching that. Aesthetic dancing, maybe.
Oh, hold on.
I don't know. We don't have time to talk about this.
Aesthetic dancing. Okay, hold on. 30s.
Oh, okay, you found it.
Golden age of swing. Energetic, athletic, stylish movements is what it says. That means nothing.
That sounds like gym class to me. That sounds like that sounds
Get out
like
the parachute, let's fucking go.
Lucky signs up there and then to do a dance class, and he's requested a teacher who looks like Penny, so he gets assigned to her, and Penny takes one look at him and goes, not fucking you again. She doesn't say that, guy. But that is the vibe.
Yeah.
And Pop has followed him in there. So Pop is like chatting up the older secretary while
and staring at her lunch.
Lucky begins his dance, and at first he tries to apologize. To his credit, he does try to apologize to Penny for the nonsense, and she doesn't want to hear it. She's like, the fact you've fooled me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
And you followed me to my job? What a fucking weirdo.
Yeah, and you like found a way to make me talk to you. Like,
yeah. Well, because
I'm gonna get through this lesson and never.
What's really funny is like at first he Lucky goes to like take her into a dancing position. She was like, absolutely not. We start by walking to make sure that you can just stand up. And so they're just walking next to each other back and forth while her boss is watching. So like she has to like put on a smile when they're walking towards the boss. And then as soon as they switch around to walk away, her face just drops and she's like, what are you doing here?
Yes. And he's intentionally being bad. Like even for the walking, she's like left, right, and he's doing right, left. Yeah. So he's making himself out to be not a good dancer. When they actually get to attempting to waltz or anything, he is slip and sliding.
My God.
All over the place. But we get our first song.
Yeah.
We get our first song. Which is, actually, I don't even know what it's called.
It's called Pick Yourself
Teacher,
Up.
Teach Me Something.
Thank
you.
It's a very classic song. The pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. I feel like I grew up with that song.
I had never heard this song until this
That's so interesting because like I feel like I heard that so much growing up as like just a thing that we would say in our family.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, it was written for the musical. It was written for the movie.
Right.
And it's been covered many times, so probably.
So I like there was probably a cover.
It
was probably like Diana Krall or like Sheryl Crow or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. Wikipedia had a really good breakdown of the musical numbers.
Yeah.
Which came in handy later when they sang one song that is so famous.
Yeah.
I was like, surely that already existed. No. It was written for this dumb movie.
This movie had a bunch of songs that are now incredibly famous.
Like
anyway, so they sing this song. And Penny, they're sitting on the floor because he falls again. And Penny's like,
and he brings her down with him.
You will never be able to dance. You shouldn't sign up for dance lessons and you should just save your money.
No one can teach you.
And as she says that, her boss walks in and hears that and is like, why would you say that? How do you think this dance studio works? You're fired.
Yeah.
And then he goes into the main entry lobby.
Like the main office where Mabel, is that her name?
Yeah, Mabel.
Here's Mabel yelling at Pop because Pop has run a con on her and fully stolen her sandwich.
Yeah.
And she calls him out on it. And the boss, again, is like, why would you speak to a customer like that? You are also fired. Just on a firing spree.
Truly. And this is when Lucky tries to get her like, Lucky is like, oh no, that's actually not what I wanted. Like, I've been messing around. And he's like, no, she's an incredible teacher. Let me show you. And grabs her, pulls her into like this dancing arena, like this dancing area with like the tiniest little fence around it. Very strange.
This like kiddie pool of a dance studio.
Starts my homework, my favorite dance of this, which is the first dance of this, which is this so fun, like combination tap polka ballroom dance that just felt like so much fun. A lot of the other songs have a lot of like emotional turmoil around them. This one just felt like they were having so much fun.
Yeah.
And it just made me grin the entire time.
Yeah, because he's not pretending to be bad anymore, and Penny's seeing him dance for the first time, and she starts to get heart eyes for this stranger who has ruined her morning.
And it's so pretty.
And then they dance together. And it's such a long take, which is very classic Fred Astaire. And she gets unfired, essentially. Like she gets unfired, and they get an audition as a duo for a place called the Silver Sandal. However, Mabel is still fired. Mabel does not get her job back.
Pop is just like, oh, that's how you get them the job back, and pulls her onto the dance floor. They cannot dance. They break the fence, and she's still fired.
She's still fired.
Cut to...
They drive the girls home. They like get a taxi to take the girls back because I guess the girls also room together, like a boarding house. They like take them to a boarding house where they live.
But it's kind of a fancy place.
It is. And there's this little bit where Lucky tells Pop to pay for the cab. Pop asks the cab driver if he has change for a 10. And Mabel says, I have change for a 10. So she gives him the change. He gives, I think, $1 to the taxi driver and like tries to keep the $9, and Mabel's immediately like, absolutely not, that is mine,
thank you. Yeah. But a part of this is that the guy who set up their audition with the Silver Sandal is like, you need to show up in a dinner jacket, and a dinner jacket, as I've learned, is different than a tuxedo jacket. Man, were there fineries. So Lucky has to figure out how to get a dinner jacket for this audition at the Silver Sandal later today, I think.
It's probably like the same day. It's that evening. And they also like need to find a place to sleep because they like just got to New York this morning.
They have $6. Yeah.
Remind me why Mabel gives Pop back the $9.
It's something about Lucky being a gambler or something, and essentially she's fine for the money, and so I think she gives him the $9 to be like, oh, you want to make it back? Here you go. Like kind of bankrolls, and she kind of flirts with Pop a little bit. Like there's a little bit of something there.
Yes, definitely set up
anyway, so Lucky sends Pop out to go and get him his jacket, or like find a jacket for him. And he like signs for a room, and you don't have to put down a deposit because this is the 1930s. Crazy. And so they have a room, and Pop shows back up to the room
after a little bit
saying, I lost all of the money, but I found a rich guy who has a dinner jacket, and he's kind of your size, and I brought him back to the hotel.
So Pop had $9 wasn't enough for a dinner jacket, apparently. So Pop has tried to gamble to earn more money to pay for the jacket, loses all of the $9, and instead clocks this very drunk gambler who's approximately Lucky's size and brings him back so that Lucky, who's a better gambler, can beat him and win his clothes. However, what Pop did not plan on is that this guy
only plays
is like Piquet. Piquet.
Something like that.
It's Piquet. I was wrong.
And
it is.
I will say one thing that we haven't mentioned. Pop does card tricks. He does like close-up magic card tricks. So he's good with his hands that way, but he's not a gambler. So he can do card tricks, but he's not like a gambler, whereas Lucky's a gambler. That comes up later. So
yes, that is relevant. And so they're like, well, shit, Lucky's like, shit, I don't play Piquet. And Pop's like, that's okay, I kind of do. And cut to the girls' room where it's like 2 hours later. They were supposed to be at the theater for their audition like 30 minutes ago. Or Lucky had said like 30 minutes ago, just give me 5 more minutes, give me 5 more minutes. They're ready to go and they're pissed. So they go to the boys' room, they knock, they enter, and they find Lucky, Pop, and this drunk man playing Piquet. Lucky keeps losing, has
lost his pants, has lost his jacket. Yeah.
And Penny takes one look at this being like, this was a bad idea, storms out.
Totally valid. So they miss the audition. Cut to a week later, and somehow they have, it looks like, I'm assuming Lucky has gambled and has been successful because they have new outfits and they now live in this place. So
I didn't clock that, but yeah. So Pop and Lucky are walking back and forth outside the girls' hotel room.
Yeah.
Which I was like, don't you have to work if it's a week later? But anyway, and they have signs around their necks on front and back that say, Penny Carroll unfair to John Garrett, which is Lucky's name.
Yeah.
I thought this was penance for how Lucky had treated Penny. No.
They're harassing her where she lives.
They're harassing her. They're picketing, being like, you need to give me a second chance. And I'm realizing that now.
Yeah.
Reading this.
100%. Now, Mabel, so this is where I'm like, oh, they must have like gambled and made money, because Mabel is like, you know how sometimes some doors have that window that's over the top of the door? So she's standing on a chair looking through this window that's above the door, just like, the team's with you, boys. And so a transom is what that is called. Yes. And so Penny pulls her back inside. That was the least patient yes you
sorry. No, it's just really funny. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Penny pulls her back inside and it's like, stop speaking with them. And Mabel
they're not our friends,
intervenes on their behalf. And at first I'm like, why is she doing that? But then she pulls out a wad of cash. She's like, anyone who can take my $9 and bring back this much deserves a second chance. And I'm like, that's not how second chances work. But now it explains why you're on their side, is because they like quadrupled your money. Heard. Because I was like, Mabel, why are you for these people? And then she
Mabel,
pulls out
why are
a
you
wad
on
of
their
cash,
side?
and I was like, oh, okay.
Additionally, Lucky has been busy. Not only has he made back a bunch of the money, he has arranged another audition for them. It's tonight.
Yes.
But Penny is still too stubborn and is like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, he screwed up once. I'm not giving him a second chance.
Yes. So she goes into the bathroom to wash her hair. And, while she's in the bathroom, Mabel brings in Lucky and is like, Pop, stay outside. And then like leaves him alone with her while she's in the bathroom. And they have like a little chat through the bathroom
tries
door.
to apologize, but also tells her like she's being ridiculous. But he does apologize, and Penny's like, I don't even want to see you. I'm not coming out of the bathroom. Please leave. Lucky then it's carpet. He steps away from the bathroom, does a couple loud steps to like make it sound like he's leaving.
Yeah.
And when Penny's like, Lucky, and he doesn't respond. He sneaks over. There's a piano in this room. This must be a rich boarding house. And he hears Penny go, wait, Lucky, wait.
Don't leave.
But she's still mid-hair wash.
Yeah.
So he sits down at the piano and he plays The Way You Look Tonight, which is, you can see all caps in my notes. Is that what this is from? That's from this movie? Holy shit, it is. Pick yourself up. I love The Way You Look Tonight. I always have. And he plays it. He doesn't turn around, but Penny comes out. And Penny, it's this really funny moment where Penny has so much suds in her hair.
I know.
She does come out of the bathroom and she stands and listens to him.
And like,
and when he
hand
finishes,
on
he
his
peeks over his
shoulder
shoulder
so he knows that she's there. Yeah.
But then when he finishes and he turns around, she like, quickly embarrassed scampers back into the bathroom.
Yeah, because he looks at her and then like his whole face like looks bizarre because she's just has suds for hair and the thinnest eyebrows.
So fun fact about these suds.
Yes.
Is production was really struggling to find a way that like made it look like suds but didn't run down her makeup or whatever.
Right.
So I think they settled on shaving cream.
Yeah.
Or whipped cream. Like it is a cream-based product that is not shampoo.
100%.
Cut to the audition.
Yes. So we are at the Silver Sandal. There are two people here that we need to know about. One of them is the club owner, Raymond. And I need to clarify this because they have similar names and I mess them up a lot. So the club owner, his name is Raymond. And then there is the band leader whose name is Ricardo.
Yes. Ricardo Ramiro.
Yes.
And he's a band leader, but he also sings, which I was unexpected.
Yes.
Raymond, I want to be very clear here. The business that Raymond owns is called Club Raymond. He named his own club
Because I thought
Raymond.
it was called the Silver Sandal.
Yeah. Or maybe...
Oh, wait. Maybe Raymond is the other guy? So there's two club owners.
Yes, okay.
And one band
there
leader.
are. There's one band leader named Ricardo Ramiro. We are at the Silver Sandal.
Yes.
We also...
No, Raymond is the
club
owner of the other club. I was wrong.
Yes. I was also wrong. So there are two clubs. This is going to be important. We have Ricardo Ramiro, who is the band's leader, at the Silver Saddle.
Yes.
It's going to come up later that there is a different club called Club Raymond.
Yes.
Which is owned by a man named Raymond.
Yes.
But we're not there yet. We've not introduced Club Raymond yet.
So, at the Silver Sandal, we get the band leader, Ricardo, singing a version of The Way You Look Tonight and is making eyes at Penny. And
So we're not in audition time. There are couples on the dance floor. Penny and Lucky are dancing together, and so Ricky, I call him Ricky because she calls him Ricky a couple times.
Yeah.
Ricardo, the band leader, is making eyes at Penny across the dance floor. They clearly know each other.
100%.
And Lucky clocks this, being like, what's this guy's deal?
What is this? Yeah.
And she admits that Ricky has asked to marry Penny multiple times in the past.
Yes.
And she's turned him down.
The song ends and Penny and Lucky go up to Ricky and she's like, oh, you're going to play a song for our audition. And he says, fuck, I am. And he says, no, I promised that I would play for you if you danced solo. I will not play for you if you dance with another partner. Crazy behavior.
Crazy. And so understandably, Lucky and Penny go to this owner of the Silver Sandal being like, your guy is refusing to do his job. And the club leader of the Silver Sandal says, well, I actually can't do shit because I no longer own Ricky's contract. I lost his contract in a bet to the owner of Club Raymond.
And I'm like, then why are they here
a gambling
right now?
man. Probably like the last performance or whatever. He was like, I can't do shit. Like after today, like he belongs to Club Raymond. And this was very common at the time. Not the gambling bit, but the band leaders having a contract with the owner
different
of the club.
clubs.
And if they're very
and
popular,
it's the entire band. It's not just Ricky.
Yes.
It's like Ricky and
Ricky.
like all 20.
Ricky et al.
Yeah, Ricky et al. Exactly.
But this club owner mentions that Raymond, the guy who he lost Ricky's contract to, he lost it to him in a bet, and he's a big gambling man.
And it's like a club casino type situation over there. Like there's multiple betting tables over there. So they head over to Club Raymond.
Yeah, because they have all the time in the world apparently. Or they couldn't just like dance to another band leader. They had to be.
No one else knows how to play piano. So in the whole
in the
city,
entire city of New York,
no one
else
can tickle a tune on the piano.
And
anyway,
also, it's like that's bad business for the owner of the Silver Sandal to not have like another band leader lined up. You know what?
Crazy. That I literally wrote, what is this plot
Shaky
point?
Sweaters.
Anyway.
Shaky sweaters. So instead, Lucky's like, I'm a really good gambler. Let's go to Club Raymond and win Ricardo's contract back.
Yeah, 100%. So they go to the club. Ricardo's already there and set up and playing. I'm like, is this a different day? Anyway, so we're at this new club and Ricardo and his band are playing. Lucky goes off to find Raymond, and Ricardo sees Penny at the club and like leaves his new job to follow her out to like a covered balcony in the snow.
Yeah. Because Penny had said to Lucky before he went off to find Raymond, she's like, I'm going to go get some fresh air.
Yes.
So she goes to the balcony. Ricardo sees her, abandons his post, follows her out to the balcony, and is immediately like, that really tickles you. And he's like, I still love you. And yes, of course, I'm jealous seeing you here with another person.
Yeah. She's like, well, this is a fine way to show love.
Tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not getting back with you, you lunatic.
You Looney Tune.
And Lucky does see Ricky follow Penny out onto the balcony. But Lucky has found Raymond of Club Raymond.
Yes. And they're betting at, at first they're betting at
a
roulette table.
He just goes to a random roulette table, and I'm like, sir, you had one job, find Raymond.
Well, I think he's trying to make enough money to get the attention of the club owner, because if you make enough money, the club owner will come out and be like, hey, stop gambling.
Yeah, because the house always wins.
100%. So
I've seen Ocean's 11.
I've seen Ocean's 11. So he is making a lot of money, and he places a bet, and Pop is like, ooh, if you win this bet, you'll have enough money to go back and marry Margaret. And he's like, whoa, I don't want to do that. And so he takes back his bet at the last minute.
Raymond arrives because they've made a bunch of money playing roulette.
100%. And it's at this point that they there's like a weird little machoism that happens where it's just like, oh, I'll bet you for the contract for Ricardo. And he's like, I don't want to do that. And he's like, what are you, chicken? And he's like, I'm not afraid of anything. And then they do this bet. Stupid. So
yeah, it's like a double or nothing kind of a deal.
Yes. And it's literally just a cut of the
Raymond
cards.
For Ricky's contract. Yeah. So it's I don't know enough about, first of all, gambling in general, but card bets and stuff. But Lucky is good with cards. But what happens is Raymond says like, all right, we'll use cards. We'll bet via cards.
Yeah.
And Pop sees Raymond make eye contact with one of his dealers at another table, who gives him a look and shows him a specific card in his deck.
Right.
And Pop immediately clocks that Raymond's gonna cheat. So Pop inserts himself into this conversation and is like, you know what, Lucky? Let me play this. Because Pop, while he might not be a good gambler, is good with cards.
Right.
So Pop plays Raymond at his own game. It's like, you cheat, I'm gonna cheat too. And Pop wins, and Lucky gets Ricky's contract.
And he gets to keep all of the money that he won at roulette.
Yes. So Lucky goes over to Ricky and is like, hey, will you play a song for
our audition
for us
now at a new club?
And Ricky's like, fuck no. Yeah, and Ricky's like, fuck no, dude. And Lucky's like, well, that's too bad because I own you. And Ricky's like, okay, well, you clearly didn't read the contract that you just won because I don't play after a certain time. And oh, would you look at the time? It's time to pack up. Like, you're not getting any more music from me. Which is like, if we have learned anything from the now 100+ episodes of musicals that we have done, it's read your fucking contracts.
I swear to God, team.
There have been
read your contracts.
So many instances. Read your contracts. But then Lucky goes behind Ricky's back and gets the audience involved.
Yeah. And is like, I've had the incredible pleasure of Ricardo asking me and Penny to dance the first dance to his new song, Waltz and Swing Time. Give it up, folks. Don't you just love to see it? That kind of thing. And like gets everyone cheering.
Yeah, just
and
like
so
guilts Ricky into playing.
Ricky is pressured into playing the song and Lucky and Penny dance.
Oh, and oh boy, do they dance. I had already flagged that I love her dress in this, but it is just, it's another single take.
Yes.
And it's such a beautiful dance. They
so gorgeous.
Are all over this floor.
Movement.
And they really, like, they take up the whole stage. Like, no one else is on the floor. It is just them.
It's just them.
And they're not even auditioning for this club.
Where are they?
They're just they're just dancing there to like piss off Ricky.
Which honestly is great. A+. Cut to them later in a car. They're like at this
point,
like
a week later.
Yeah, and they get to the place that they're staying, and there's a moment where Penny and Lucky make eyes at each other.
Lucky drives both Mabel and Penny back to the boarding house because they're there to pick up Pop. And you're right, Penny and Lucky are making a little like flirty eyes at each other. They're in the front seat together.
Yeah.
But then Lucky like jumps out of the car to go get Pop from inside. And I want to flag that it's like wintertime. They're dressed in winter gear.
And they're in a convertible?
An open top convertible.
Yeah, 100%. I wrote that down too.
Pissed me off. That makes no sense. But Penny turns back to Mabel and is like, I think there's something up with Lucky.
Yeah.
Because I only see him, he like won't be alone with me.
Yeah.
I only see him at rehearsals or when we're all together.
Right.
And like there's something going on with him. Meanwhile, inside, we see Lucky picking up Pop from the room and telling him, look, don't leave me alone with Penny because I'm falling for her, essentially.
Yes.
And it's one of those like, I don't know what'll happen if I'm left alone with this woman, which is a concept I fucking hate. But
crazy.
Anyway, Pop reminds Lucky that's like, you know what, this is insane logic. Pop reminds Lucky that, hey, you know what? You don't have to go back to your old life as long as you don't make $25,000. Which, that's not, the logic is not there.
It doesn't make sense.
So while Pop and Lucky are having this conversation, Pop also tells Lucky that he wants him to lay off the gambling. Like, you've got a good thing going here with this dancing thing. And to prove his point, Pop takes Lucky's lucky quarter and eats it.
And then later on
Insane.
It reveals that he didn't, but also the lucky quarter never comes back again. So like, I don't know what the point of this is. Anyway, I thought that the lucky quarter was going to come back again at the end and Pop was going to say, no, I have it. And it never does.
And it never does. It just fully, or like it was Lucky loses his confidence if he doesn't have his lucky quarter. Yeah. Like there's no follow through on that plot point.
Anyway.
I hadn't thought about that. Excellent. What's important is our quartet decide they do a road trip midwinter to a place
in a convertible
called in active snow to a place called New Amsterdam, which to me is a hospital. But in 1936, there was probably like
a bed and breakfast up in
like
the Hamptons or something.
Like a summer, but it's a summer destination. It's fully closed.
Fully winter.
But Mabel went there in the summer as a kid, so they make this like day trip of their. I'm sorry, it
made no sense.
So stupid.
Yes, but Lucky has asked Pop, "Don't let me be alone with Penny," and Penny has asked Mabel, "Figure out a way to let me have alone time with Lucky." So got two people working it on.
Mabel's a good wing woman.
Hell yeah, she is.
Mabel's a good wing woman. They get to this winter wonderland and only
Active
spend
snow.
time outside. Like, this is a
there's
closed
no one
hotel.
there.
They have nowhere to go. And Mabel, like, takes Pop to the side and to, like, separate the duo.
Let me show you the lake.
Penny makes a comment of, like, I think they want some alone time.
Yeah.
And Penny had previously, like, snuggled up to Lucky in the car because she was cold. So they get some alone time.
And
I want to point out that Miss Mayhem is Penny is walking through, I want to say 4 inches of snow in pumps.
And tights.
In pumps.
Yeah. Queen.
Yeah.
Love it.
But then she leads him. Grace, take it away.
To a gazebo. I texted Anna. Oh my God. There's a gazebo.
We got a gazebo, and you know good things happen in a gazebo.
Oh,
Penny
incredible.
has found this, like, again, winter dilapidated gazebo. I'm sure it's beautiful in the summer.
I'm sure in the
There's,
summer
like, dead vines everywhere.
There's like flowering blooms around the edges of this gazebo. No, it's dead winter. And they like have a little moment where they kind of roundabout talk about each other and like their relationship and like whether or not like they like each other. And there was one moment where she like tries to get him to cuddle and she's like, I'm cold. And he's like, flap your arms for circulation.
Like he's not dumb. He's aware of what she's trying to do, and he's trying to like resist it by sabotaging her advances.
So funny.
And you know what? After a bit, she's like, you're sending me mixed signals. I'm fucking pissed.
Fine.
She stomps off in the snow, and we get the song, a duet, A Fine Romance, which I had heard of before.
The
Have you heard
lyrics
of this
are
song
so funny in like a very 1930s
Yes,
way. She's like, you're as cold
I'll
as
pull it up.
yesterday's mashed potatoes. And I laughed out loud.
A fine romance, my good fellow. You take romance, I'll take Jello. I'm sorry. I loved that one specific lyric. But it becomes a duet.
It does become a duet, and they get closer, and then they almost kiss, and then Pop is a cock block, and he starts a snowball fight.
Pop's, you know what?
To
Pop's
be fair,
doing what Lucky asked him
that is
to.
fair. Pop does what Lucky asked him to do and stops the moment.
Yeah. Pop throws a snowball, immediately ruins the mood, and Lucky, like, tries to be like, oh, right, let's have a snowball fight. Throws a snowball, clocks Mabel in the face.
Yes.
And Penny is immediately like, this is dumb. You clearly are not interested in me, and wants nothing more, like, wants to go back to the city.
Yes. Well, at that point, so Lucky goes over to help Mabel, and Pop goes over to Penny, and it's just like, can you help me? Mabel's mad at me because I'm telling Lucky to stop gambling, and she thinks that he should because he's so good at it, but he can't earn more than $25,000 or he has to go back and marry his fiance. And Penny's like, excuse me?
Excuse me, what?
Excuse me, what? Crazy.
Pop really fulfills that role of like the buffoon sidekick in this.
Very much so.
At first, when they first introduced him,
I thought he was drunk.
I thought he was drunk.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I thought he was drunk. No, that's just a character
It's
choice.
who he is.
That's just who he is.
Anyway, so
And
Lucky
Penny
comes
is
back.
understandably devastated. And Lucky's like, where were we? Like, tries
Pretty
to go
much,
back into that
because
kiss.
he
And Penny
tells
is
Pop,
like,
he's like,
fuck
I've
off.
changed my mind. Don't help me. And goes back, and Penny fully rebuffs him. So he sings a fine, like the second half of A Fine Romance.
A Fine Romance,
And it ends with snow falling on their open car. Anyway, we cut back to the city.
Yeah, it falls with like her she gets into, I really like this actually, she gets into the driver's seat and uses the windshield wipers to just like pelt Lucky with snow. Cut back to the Silver Slipper. It is the grand reopening night, meaning like they have
Sandal.
oh my god, silver. Cut back to the Silver Sandal. It's
I think you also said silver, like saddle at one point. I don't know.
I said it's a silver
A different S word every time. The Silver Serpent.
The silver something. It's like the grand reopening because they have these 2 new stars as dancing. Cut to Penny's dressing room. Ricky's there because he works there again because Lucky won his contract. And this man is nothing if not resilient because he is back in her dressing room proposing to her again. And she's like,
Once again, with a ring.
No, thank you. No, she's too polite for this man.
Yes. Mabel comes into the dressing room and Ricardo was like, sometimes I should be left alone. And she's like, yes. And so
Door is that way.
Mabel has so many funny one-liners.
I loved
it's great.
Mabel.
She's who I go into because she's just hysterical. And we've seen her before in another Fred and Ginger movie.
Okay.
So Mabel and Penny are chatting with each other.
Because Mabel wants Penny and Lucky to make up.
Yes, and wants them to be together. And so Mabel ends up daring Penny to give Lucky a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, you love him. Like, why don't you just go give him a great big kiss?
If you kiss him, even if you're mad at him,
she's like,
you won't
I can't
deny
do that.
your feelings for him. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I can't do that. And kind of the similar thing of just like, oh yeah, no, I bet you can't. And she's like, well, of course I can't. Like, that's sort of like
she dares her,
psychology that's very fake.
Listen, if we've learned anything from Fred and Ginger movies, is that psychology is wild.
Fake. So she bolsters up her nerves and she goes into his dressing room, and there's like a moment where she like leans in but is like very jerky, and he's like, what's happening?
Because she's like wide-eyed, like terrified,
like panicked,
and
it's just like, well, don't you like my dress?
This is my moment of joy. I love this scene so much because the girl, same, she panics. She's like, don't you do you like my dress? So funny.
Full panic. And then he like slowly comes back to her, and then as they're about to kiss, the dressing room door opens up for the club owner so that their kiss is hidden. Because as you remember in the last, I think it was the last Fred and Ginger, there was a whole thing where we actually see them kiss on screen, which was a big deal because their kisses were normally always hidden behind a door or like implied. Anyway,
because they were not married.
Their kiss is hidden, and the club owner like is looking for them and like looks around the door, and we see Lucky with like a very obvious lip print diagonally across his mouth. It was
face,
very
and they're
silly.
both grinning and like it was beyond words. It was so cute.
But it was also the longest shot in the world. This shot took too long because it felt like they were holding for applause,
Yeah.
Like,
it
felt
was
like
a really long
stage moment of just like, now hold until the audience stops laughing.
And then you
can't
can
do
move.
that in a film.
No.
Yeah.
Because that's not how film works.
Anyway, so she leaves to get ready, and then everything is instantly ruined. Trigger warning by blackface.
Lucky's like, the club owner's like, Lucky, you're on for your next number. And that's when Lucky goes and grabs the container of black face paint. And I went, oh, Grace had warned me that there's blackface later in this film. And I went, oh no, the blackface is here.
Yeah. Oh no. And then we get, and so I would normally skip this song, but there is one section of this song that is technically interesting. And so
here's how I feel about it.
The song is called,
here's what I want to say. Trigger warning, the use of blackface.
Yeah.
The song and dance that we're about to describe was credited as a tribute to a very famous African-American performer. Does this song move the plot forward? Does the use of blackface move the plot forward? Is there any other reference to a fictional African-American character? No. This song could exist. No. This dance could exist without blackface, and it would be the exact same number, and so there is no reason for it.
There is no reason for it. The intent was honoring a certain style of tap dancing that had been made famous by a black performer. Yeah. I understand that intent. However, the use of blackface is not historically used as a way to characterize an entire race of people, and is not a forgivable thing because you can do the style of dance without putting on blackface. Anyway, the song is called Bojangles of Harlem. There is no plot relevant thing. The one technical aspect that is interesting is that there is a moment, kind of like the last one that we did with Gene Kelly, in which he dances with a reflection of himself. Mm-hmm. This is a 30s version of that, in which he dances with 3 shadows of himself. It isn't, which was visually interesting.
It is a technically impressive dance. It is a large ensemble. Fred Astaire is a very good dancer. I wrote, this is some Gene Kelly, I am my own best dance partner, ego bullshit.
Yes.
Like, no one can
100%.
Oh, well, literally
Yes.
what I did, Grace, I want you to look at me. Literally, I watched this film and I just like kind of covered Fred Astaire's face with my thumb. It's just like neck down.
Yes.
Incredibly impressive.
Yes. So basically there were like 3 shadows of him dancing projected behind him.
Yeah.
As he danced with them, and they like started in sync, and then he like turned around and like the dancing kind of changed a little bit, so the shadows were like not a full reflection of what he was doing.
Yeah, they were more
it
like
was
partners.
technically very interesting.
It was very technically and interesting and advanced.
And I'm pretty sure this choreography got the choreographer Hermes Pan an
he got an Oscar.
Academy Award nomination.
Yeah, we don't do like it's called Best Dance.
That doesn't
Best Dance Direction was the award. We don't do that
which
anymore.
Doesn't
at the
exist
Oscars.
anymore.
But Hermes Pan, you're right, did win an Oscar for that number.
He got a nomination
for the film. You're right.
I re-looked at it. Yeah.
The song ends.
Anyway.
Surprise! Margaret, Lucky's affianced, is in the audience. He sees her and is like, "Shit." And goes backstage. She stands up and follows him backstage, which you cannot do. But
well, it was the 30s. Who knows?
Yeah, but Lucky's got a head start. So Margaret gets backstage, doesn't see him, runs into Penny, and asks Penny, do you know where John Garnett, is that his last name, Garnett?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where John Garnett is. And Penny says, I don't know who that is. And Margaret says, well, sometimes he goes by Lucky. And Penny goes, I don't know who that is. Like, does not try and help him at all.
So she goes to wait in his dressing room, and he hides behind a curtain because he's a coward.
We see the owner of the silver sandal letting her in. So, like, clearly she went and, like, found someone else and let her in. We cut back out to the audience where Pop has gone up to Raymond and 2 other goons of Raymond just to, like, say hello because they
doesn't recognize him. I don't know.
No, it's not that they don't recognize him. I think he goes up just to, like, kind of be friendly because he's a bit of a buffoon, and they're like, we don't want anything to talk to. We don't like want nothing to do with you because you stole our bandmaster. But then Pop shows them, he's like, well, look, you want to see a magic trick? And he does a card trick for them. And Raymond is immediately like, oh, well, you should sit down with us. Pour him a drink.
Join us. Yeah. And basically reveals what his trick was in the card bet that they did against each other. Yeah. And as soon as he reveals that, Raymond and his goons grab Pop and drag him backstage. Like, oh, we should play again.
Yeah, to Lucky's dressing room to be like, we know you cheated. We want a rematch. Yeah. And even to Pop, so to his credit. So they show up and they
kick out Margaret, by the way.
Pop, to his credit, he's like, well, you guys also cheated. And Raymond's like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. I want a rematch. Lucky, he plays
we're gonna do this right now.
Yeah, he plays against Lucky. It's regular.
Lucky loses.
Yeah, but are they regular cards or are they Raymond's, like, rigged cards?
I don't know. It's Raymond's deck, Lucky shuffles. Yeah. Either way,
Lucky loses.
He loses and loses the contract. So that's when Margaret comes back in and is just like, hi.
You were so good.
What's going on? Everything seems very tense right now. And then Penny comes in and is like, we have to get ready for our dance. And Lucky's like, there is no orchestra. I lost it in another gamble. And Penny's like, I thought you were done gambling. And
that's something that we didn't. That's something that we didn't mention.
He's like, here's Margaret,
because
my fiance.
When Mabel goes to Penny's dressing room and dares her to go kiss Lucky, Mabel's trying to convince Penny that, like, listen, you really should give Lucky another chance. He's even given up gambling. So Penny's under the impression that Lucky's not even doing that. So to have him not only lose the contract, which, like, fucks up their dance plans, but also go back on, like, something he wasn't doing anymore. And then is like, also, this is Margaret, my fiance.
My fiance.
Penny, understandably, leaves, and Lucky asks Margaret if he can call on her tomorrow. Like, I've got a lot going on. She's like, this is a weird energy, and I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go. I don't think this is a good time. The club is suddenly deserted. Yeah. No one paid for their drinks. Dinner?
Why?
No one's eating?
Well,
What's
you know
happening?
The band left. The band's gone.
Band's gone. And so no one has, like, it was baffling how this club was suddenly
have
empty.
a backup orchestra, or just like have some whatever. Lucky goes out on stage and sees across the stage Penny hand in hand with Ricky, and we cut into them and we see Penny accepting Ricky's proposal.
Yeah, so she has left and instantly agreed to marry Ricky. And then as soon as that happens, he's totally fine leaving them alone because Lucky is like, can I have a moment alone with Penny? He's like, it won't do you any good, but I'll be in the car.
Yeah.
Like,
now that she's got a ring on her finger,
sense.
he's no longer threatened by Ricky.
Exactly. So he leaves and we get this moment with the two of them together in this club. And God, this one moment that I just loved where Penny asks Lucky, does she dance beautifully, the girl you're in love with? And he says, very. And she's like, the girl you're engaged to? He's like, oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know.
And it's just like, yeah, because he's in love with her.
you. And he says,
it was very sweet. It was a very sweet moment.
And then he says, it doesn't matter anyway, because I'm never going to dance again.
I'm never going to dance if it's not with you.
Yeah, which is beautiful, but an insane thing to like.
Crazy thing to say.
And then we get the song, Never Gonna Dance.
So at first it is just Lucky singing the song about how he's never going to dance because he won't be dancing with her. Mm-hmm. And then we get this stunning dance number with the two of them. Oh, God, her dress is stunning.
Yeah.
And it just sweeps so beautifully. It's a very interesting number because there's so much emotion in it. This felt like one of the few moments where it was actually acting through dance because I felt their characters' emotions through the choreography as opposed to the choreography being beautiful and kind of that was it.
Yeah.
The choreography itself, I felt, emphasized their emotional state, which was not something that often happens in the 1930s. Mm-hmm.
It was like a breakup song via dance.
Yeah. And they like go up this massive staircase at the end. And this is one of the few moments where there was actually a cut in one of their dance numbers because most of the time Fred Astaire is very clear about no cuts, full body. I want to prove that I'm doing everything that I'm doing. We're giving honor to the dance by showing everything. Mm-hmm. But they had to do a cut because the camera literally they didn't have a dolly or something. Yeah. And they had to reset up at the top of this staircase to like get this final part of the dance. Funny.
But the dance ends, I think, back down to the bottom of the stairs.
And she runs off.
Or he, like, flings her and she doesn't return. And he's left all alone. She truly spins out of frame.
Yes.
Cut to...
And then this last segment made no sense.
No, because this is a very silly movie. So, we see Margaret in her hotel room tearfully writing a letter as her luggage is taken out. Lucky arrives and she's like, John, I didn't think you'd come. And I'm like, man, he told you he was going to call on you. And they both talk over each other. They both say like, look, I need to tell you something. And he's like, no, let me, I need to get this off my chest. Let me talk first, woman, is essentially. And she says, nope, I'm going to give you this letter now. And he reads the letter.
Read it after I leave.
Yeah. But
she's like, no, don't.
Read it. He's like, no, I'm going to read it now. And it's her telling him that she can't marry him.
She's not in love with him. She's in love with someone else. She wants to marry someone else.
There's a funny moment where he's like, well, who are you in love with? And she goes, well, keep reading. It's in the letter. Yeah. And I really loved this because they were just two people that were in a situation where like neither of them were going to be happy, but they can leave it as friends. And he's like, I'm so happy for you. I
was in love with someone else too. Yeah. Who are you marrying? This guy? Oh, we used to call him Goofy Sam.
Yes.
Like it was just
it's so silly.
And they start cackling because they both were there to throw each other over, like to break up with each other. So they start cackling. In walks Pop and Mabel, and like Mabel looks like she's going to a funeral. And so they're like, what is this energy that we're walking into? And they're like, we were both here to break up with each other. And he's like, why didn't you tell me last night? And she was like, I was there too, but the energy was wild. So And so they start laughing at the situation, and Mabel's like, that's hysterical because Penny's getting married now.
Yeah, this afternoon.
And so then cut to Penny looking like she's at her husband's funeral. Like she has a full black lace, like
she's not in a traditional wedding gown. She's in like a suit, like a dress, a skirt suit. And
with like a fox fur around her.
Very morose looking. And Margaret is sitting next to her, and Margaret is cackling. And Penny's like, what's your fucking deal?
What is this?
What is happening?
Yeah. And so she reveals that Lucky's and his fiancé have broken up, and that happens then.
Yeah.
Cut to Ricardo's dressing room.
Yeah. Lucky and Pop have like tried to see Ricky, and Ricky's valet is like, no, it's he's busy. But they storm into the room anyway. And Ricky's like, gentlemen, what's going on? What can I do for you? Are you here to wish me luck? And as Pop is like talking and distracting Ricky, Lucky looks down on the dressing table and sees a men's fashion magazine and gets a dumb idea. And he opens the magazine, pulls Pop over. They both laugh at the magazine and then essentially laugh at Ricky. And Ricky's like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you laughing at me?
Truly point and laugh.
Truly point and laugh. And
13-year-old point and laugh.
And through tears of laughter, Lucky and Pop tell Ricky, you can't get married in those trousers. You look like a dumb piece of shit. You don't have cuffs on your trousers.
You don't have 3-inch cuffs on your trousers. You absolute Looney Tune. So then they steal his pants. And then they head back downstairs. And they're cackling, holding his pants. And Penny's like, what are you doing here, you insane people? And then they're like, you're not gonna get married. She's like, the fuck you say? Of course I am.
They're like, no, the groom has no pants.
The groom has no pants. He can't. And then we see Ricardo coming downstairs wearing the pants of his attendant that are like 3 sizes too big for him, looking like billowas, like
looking like a clown, like clown pants. He's holding them up in one hand.
Yes.
And Penny looks at Ricky in this ridiculous situation. She also starts laughing and she's like, yeah, there's not going to be a wedding because I'm not going to marry you. You poor
and he's
person.
Like, yes. Ha ha ha. That makes sense.
He acquiesces.
And then Ricky, he instantly is just like, so you're going to marry Lucky instead? And she's like, I guess so. And then he says, ha ha ha. Okay. And that's the end? What?
The fact that Ricky is immediately like, this man who has arrived in town and ruined every single day of mine and gets to marry my girl?
Yeah.
Sure. What?
It honestly, it was the same thing as the moment with Rita Hayworth with Gene Kelly, where she's like at the altar and she's like, I can't marry you. And the guy's like, okay. I have no emotion. It's crazy. That's the end of this movie. There's like a final merge of a Fine Romance and Way You Look Tonight mashup where they sing and
together. They kiss and then that's the end. Insane. Yeah. I cannot believe this was
crazy.
Truly for the second time in a row now, just like the movie we just did with Gene Kelly. What was it called?
Cover Girl?
Yes.
Not Carefree.
Not Carefree, Cover Girl. The reason I bring it up is that
it took me a second to see how careful I was.
That was also one where we were 10 minutes from the end. I was like, how is this going to wrap up?
How are they going to do this? Yeah.
It is 8 minutes till the end and she is walking down the aisle to someone she does not love. But that's how Swing Time ends.
Well, this is what I was talking about in that movie where I'm like, truly, it's the last 20 minutes and you're like, what are we doing here? And then they're like, we're going to do a whole song where it's 15 minutes of looking at models. And anyway.
Truly, I loved getting your live texts during that. I'm just like, how is this happening and how is it still going?
If it's still going in 10 minutes, I'm going to scream. Anyway, that's the end of this movie.
So, shall we do a little dramaturgy report?
Well, before we do that, Anna, what did you think of this movie?
So,
especially considering I texted you a couple of spoilers in advance. One about the trigger warning of blackface, and 2 that there was a gazebo.
Most excited about the gazebo. I liked it better than the psychiatrist one. of the Fred and
Yes.
Gingers. I liked that everyone was in their
100%.
right mind and consenting to their own decisions. And
It felt like consent happened. Yes.
And I think something that made me like it more than I maybe would have is how much agency the women had. Like the fact that in a 1936 movie, Margaret was also the one being like, I don't want to marry you. I want to marry this other guy that I'm in love with.
I don't want this.
As opposed to just the men being like, I can't marry you, and then the women having to deal with the consequences.
Fair enough. I understand that. Yeah, this is definitely like, there are 10 Fred and Ginger movies. I think we've maybe done 4 or 5 at this point. This is definitely higher on the list for me.
Yes.
Based on plot.
Yeah. It had a plot. Much of one? Debatable. But it did have a plot. Now, shall we do a little dramaturgy?
Hell yes.
I want to start off dramaturgy with, how did you watch this film?
The internet, as always.
The internet, yes. I also watched it on
very rarely
the
pay
internet.
for things.
I don't mind paying to rent things if it's reasonable. Like, I think I rented...
Like if it's $2-3, but if it's $5, absolutely
What did we
not.
just do? What did we just do?
Music Man.
Music Man. I rented Music Man for like $4.99 on Amazon.
Yeah,
This was available to rent on Amazon for $14.99. And I said, I'm not paying that for blackface.
Absolutely not.
I'm not
100%.
I'm not paying
Correct.
$14.99 for like blackface. So I watched it on the internet. But
Yes.
that's something I want to incorporate into future episodes of like how listeners could watch this if they were so moved to. Shall we do a little dramaturgy?
Yes.
Dramaturgy report.
Ba-na-na-na-na-now.
Dramaturgy report. Never gets old. Okay, so this was directed by George Cooper Stevens, an American film director, producer, screenwriter, and cinematographer. He won 2 Academy Awards in his career. For Best Director, one for A Place in the Sun in 1951, and the other for Giant in 1956. So I pulled a little bit more on him because I found his career interesting.
Yeah.
He was born in California. His parents did touring theater. They had their own theater company, so he was with them as a child actor and then stage manager, which is hilarious to think of as an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
When cinema started to replace live theater, they moved to LA.
Mm-hmm.
At age 17, he was hired. His first job as an assistant cameraman. He worked on a couple westerns. And then after 3 years, he became a cameraman. He really impressed Hal Roach with his like visual style.
Yeah.
So he was appointed to direct, installments of the Boyfriends series. From there, he went on to Universal Pictures and then RKO. He directed several genre films, including Alice Adams, which starred Katharine Hepburn, Swing Time, obviously, starring Fred and Ginger, and a Cary Grant film called Gwanja Din.
Sure.
He got loaned to MGM in 1942 to direct Woman of the Year, based on Katharine Hepburn's recommendation, and that's where she was paired with Spencer Tracy for the first time,
Nice.
that film. In the 40s, obviously, the U.S. entered World War II. He joined the Army and headed a film unit. He shot footage of the liberation of Paris and the entry of American soldiers into the Dachau concentration camp. He then returned to Hollywood and directed more serious films, which is where he started in A Place in the Sun. In addition to the films I've already mentioned, he directed The Diary of Anne Frank in 1959,
Ooh.
The Greatest Story Ever Told in 1965, and his final film was The Only Game in Town in 1970, which starred Elizabeth Taylor and Warren Beatty.
Nice.
He was nominated 5 times for Best Director. He won twice, and 6 of the movies he produced and directed were nominated for Best Picture.
Nice.
Which, just like, very prolific career, did a lot of different genres.
Hell yeah.
And I just thought his background was really interesting.
Yeah.
We've seen this cinematographer before. This cinematographer is David Abel. He was born in Amsterdam to Russian parents. He came to the U.S. as a child in the 1900s, which is a wild sentence. Started as a portrait photographer before entering the film industry in 1913. He was a favorite collaborator of director Mark Sandrich and was responsible for 5 Fred and Ginger musicals: Gay Divorcee, Top Hat, Follow the Fleet, Shall We Dance, and then Swing Time.
Nice.
He retired in 1937, but he was convinced by Sandrich to come back out of retirement to be the cameraman on Holiday Inn in 1942.
Cute.
Which I loved. And then this editor was Henry Michael Berman. He was an American film editor for RKO and a producer for MGM. Bit of a Nepo baby. His father was the GM of Universal Pictures during Hollywood's formative years.
Yeah, there you go.
He started working in a film lab at Consolidated Film Industries. He then worked in the lab at Universal. Mm-hmm. In 1933, he joined RKO as an editor and worked on musicals, including Swing Time and also Follow the Fleet, which is another Fred and Ginger movie that we will do.
Yep.
Both of which were produced by his older brother, Pandro S. Berman. He became Pandro's assistant, and they moved together to MGM in 1940. Mm-hmm. Other films he's known for are the 1966 Grand Prix, 1967 Point Blank, and the 1964 The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this obviously was not a stage play, so nothing to talk about there. But the writers for this screenplay were Howard Lindsay and Alan Scott. They co-wrote a bunch of things together. Alan Scott was also nominated for an Academy Award for writing So Proudly We Hail. They co-wrote Top Hat, Follow the Fleet, Swing Time, Shall We Dance, Carefree, and Roberta. So they did a bunch of the Fred and Ginger movies. The music and lyrics, so Dorothy Fields wrote the music for this and was known for writing more than 400 songs for Broadway musicals and films. The Way You Look Tonight, A Fine Romance. She also wrote On the Sunny Side of the Street, Don't Blame Me, Pick Yourself Up, In the Mood for Love, Couldn't Be Cuter, Big Spender. Throughout her career, she collaborated with a bunch of people: Jerome Kern, Cy Coleman, Irving Berlin, Arthur Schwartz, and she was one of the first successful Tin Pan Alley and Hollywood female songwriters. So she was incredibly prolific. For actors and casting, I just want to, there's not a lot about her, but for Helen Broderick, who played our Mabel.
Yeah, I want to know more about her.
She started on Broadway as a chorus girl in The Follies of 1907, which was the first of Florence Ziegfeld's annual revues. She then went on to perform in the vaudeville duo Broderick and Crawford with her husband until vaudeville essentially died, at which point she moved to a solo career and was in her first play, Nifties of 23. She toured extensively with the Ziegfeld Folly troupes between 1910 and 1915, and she established herself as a comic performer. Her Broadway work continued throughout that decade, and she became known for dry humor character roles, which then ended up transferring whenever she ended up moving to Hollywood. By the late 1920s, she was playing lead roles and featured roles, and then shifted to Hollywood in the early 1930s, where she played the role of Violet Hildegard in the musical 50 Million Frenchmen, which we could not find a digital copy of.
That renews my desire to find it.
I know. We could only, okay, so I want to talk about us searching for that movie because we both looked for it, could not find it, and only found, eBay VHS tapes of it. It was crazy. Anyway, in the early 1930s, she also starred in the revues The Bandwagon and As Thousands Cheer. She became known as the, quote, quick quipping friend, and ended up being a support role in a couple of Fred and Ginger movies. She was in Top Hat, which we just talked about, as Madge Hardwick, and then just now in Swing Time as Mabel Anderson. She also appeared in Rage of Paris, No No Nanette, Father Takes a Wife, and Stage Door Canteen. But her last appearance in film was with Deanna Durbin in the comedy Because of Him in 1946, and she ended up passing away from a stroke, I want to say, in the early 50s. So a shorter career, but was very much kind of one of the first character actresses that really made that transition from vaudeville to Broadway to Hollywood.
So in terms of reviews and reception, most critics praised Fred and Ginger's performances, specifically Ginger's acting and dancing. And she, in turn, credited much of the film's success to the director. Quote, "He gave us a certain quality, I think, that made it stand out above others." However, the film's plot has been criticized, which is not uncommon for Fred and Ginger movies, of just like, you kind of took the plot of one of them and put a different hat on it, because that was a critique for Top Hat and Gay Divorcee. They were like, this is literally the same movie. Yeah. And also, this feels really personal, but a lot of critics had negative things to say about the performance of the actor that played Ricky Romero.
Oh no!
It's also noted that Swing Time is marks the beginning of the decline of popularity in the Astaire-Rogers partnership in the general media.
Yeah.
Specifically, their box office receipts decreased faster. Like, it didn't have as big of a return as previous one. That being said, it was still a big hit. Like, it grossed over $2 million worldwide in 1936.
Yes. But
it was kind of noted that this was when the graph starts to go down in terms of profits of the Astaire-Rogers partnership. I think it was still like the 8th most popular film worldwide that year.
Yeah.
In terms of awards, I mentioned before, Hermes Pan was nominated for Best Dance Direction for Bojangles of Harlem specifically. And it did win Best Original Song at the Oscars for The Way You Look Tonight.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
Shall we talk about singing and dancing?
Singing was fine. The songs themselves are iconic. This version of them, they're like, it's fine.
These aren't, they both, I don't remember Ginger Rogers' singing voice much from the other films. I really liked her in this one.
Yeah.
I really liked her singing voice in this. I like that I feel like in the past, she hasn't had solo songs or hasn't really was always singing at the same time as Fred, whereas she had more of her own verses in this
Pick Yourself
movie,
Up was
even if it
almost
was a duet.
entirely her.
Yeah. And then for dancing, How Dare I Have Notes.
Jesus, truly. I mean, my homework is going to be that first dance of theirs that was just so fun and joyous.
Phenomenal. I think my homework will be another dance of theirs.
Yeah.
Probably the one probably the one at the Silver Saddle.
Yeah.
Where Ricky's like, and to the audience is like, give it up for, where Lucky to the audience is like,
Waltz and Swing Time or something.
The waltz. Yeah. That one. Where he
for sure
bamboozles Ricky into playing
so funny
the song for them.
Gripes, giggles, moments of joy.
Gripes is...
My gripe...
One...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it. You came in hot. What's your gripe?
Is so stupid, but it's the convertible in the winter.
That's such a good gripe.
I was so
such
mad.
A valid gripe.
We have covered cars. Why did you do this? We've shown films where people are in covered cars. You can do this. Why did you make them have a convertible anyway?
Or even then, it's not relevant to the plot at all that this takes place in winter.
Make it in the summer.
There's no reason for it to take place in winter. Yeah. No, they shot it on a set.
I can't.
Like they truly did not need it. It made no sense.
Anyway,
I have 2 gripes.
Yes.
One of which it's a minor gripe because it wasn't as. Actually, you know what? I'm going to rescind that. My gripe was going to be that a lot of the conflict came from just like people not talking to each other, but that wasn't actually the big conflict of this film.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say my gripe is that the blackface was completely unnecessary.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, just not relevant to the plot in any way, shape, or form. Just not.
Yeah.
Didn't enjoy that.
No.
My giggle specifically is when Penny loses her nerve when going to kiss Lucky and goes, "Do you like my dress?"
She says it in such a stilted way. It's so funny.
So funny. So funny.
My giggles are mostly Mabel.
Oh my God.
Specifically, whenever Ricky leaves and he was like, I should be left alone sometimes. And she's like, agreed.
Yeah, I really loved Mabel. But my moment of joy is once And I think it's a little bit because it's actually very similar to a plot point in the book I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
But when Margaret and Lucky have that conversation where she's like, I don't want to marry you. I'm in love with someone else. And he's like, well, I don't want to marry you. I'm in love with someone else. And the fact that they could leave that as friends. And again, I don't think there's been as many instances in films of this era where the women have so much agency in the romantic relationship that it was just really nice for her to be like, I don't want to marry you, so I'm not going to.
I love that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mine is that first dance, which is going to be my homework. I just grinned like an idiot throughout the entire thing. It just made me really happy.
Yeah.
Fun facts.
We've done 2 of mine already, which was the lip reading of the first use of the F word and the price of the pack of cigarettes.
Well, I had that one. I think my only thing was about the shadow dancing, was sort of like the technique that they did to get that. So the choreographer Hermes Pan, who we have seen before, he was quite a prolific choreographer of this era, noticed that 3 lights.
We haven't seen him in a minute, though.
Well, he was Kiss Me Kate way back when. I'm pretty back when for us, but later in the timeline for him. And I'm pretty sure he worked with Gene Kelly in the CoverGirl, but I may be wrong on that. So he noticed that 3 light sources were creating a group of Fred Astaire shadows while they were performing or while they were rehearsing, and he was like, that's a really cool idea. So what they did was that Fred Astaire was filmed in silhouette 3 separate times because they're all like at slightly different camera angles, essentially, to create that image of like 3 light sources.
I was wondering about that. That's really cool.
And so they had to do this dance like 4 different times, 1 time for each of the shadows, and then the time where it's him performing. And it wasn't perfect. Obviously, there's like some bleeding of the imagery, but it was so striking because the shadows were obviously not perfect shadows of what he was currently doing, and so it felt like he was dancing with a different version, like Gene Kelly dancing with the reflection of himself in CoverGirl. It was just an interesting that they had to do it 4 different times to get the different angles of the dance, because they were at slightly different angles, even if it was subtle.
It's crazy that so much of Hermes Pan's career, like he had a 50-year career. His first film was an assistant at Flying Down to Rio. Then he did Gay Divorcee, Top Hat, Swing Time. He did do Carefree. But then those were all in the 30s. His last film was in 1981.
Oh, wow.
He was 71 at that time.
Hell yeah.
Crazy. So I have 2 fun facts, one of which is about the costumes. So for the Fred and Ginger film Roberta in 1935, the studio RKO spent $250,000 on gowns designed by the legendary designer Bernard Newman, who designed with Ginger for all of the movies that they made together. So RKO spent all that money, and then they immediately just started recycling the dresses.
100%.
So that included in Swing Time. And if you watch Roberta and Swing Time, you can see that the fur coat that Penny is wearing in that snowball gazebo scene is one of the costumes from Roberta. They just added some buckles and changed the hat.
Amazing.
And then my other fun fact is about the other titles of this. So what I loved about this is, so Swing Time never mentioned really in the film at all. So there were working titles for, the original working titles were I Won't Dance and Never Gonna Dance. But studio executives were worried that no one was going to come see a musical in which nobody danced. And like that's what people were going to think of from the title. So they talked about other options. It was going to be called Pick Yourself Up initially. And there were up to 15 other possibilities before they landed on Swing Time. But I thought it was funny that they were like, Never Gonna Dance. That's not going to work.
Can't do that.
It's headlined by Fred and Ginger.
Astaire.
Like, it's gotta be.
Like some of the most famous dancers of our time.
Yeah. That would be like, I don't know, calling like a Frank Sinatra movie Never Gonna Sing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not.
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense.
Amazing.
But that is the rest of my dramaturgy.
Ah, fantastic. And so our homework are the 2 dances, so I'll put in links to both of those.
Yes, the 2 dances.
Otherwise, I think that's all she wrote.
I think that's all she wrote as well. Ooh. I enjoyed this.
Yes.
I did. I enjoyed this more than I expected to, given my history with films of this era. And I was just really burned by Carefree. I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
If you're still with us, thank you so much for listening. We love doing this stupid little podcast. We were just talking about how we cannot believe we are at triple digits. Take care of yourselves and others. We'll see you on the next one. I have been Anna.
I'm still Grace.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
5, 6, 7, 8. There's no business like show business, like no business I know.